She wouldn't let me touch her. That's what I remember most, the way my niece flinched when I reached to brush her hair away from her eyes. She had always been warm, clingy even, but after 3 days at her aunt's house, she sat in silence, hands clenched tight around her stuffed rabbit as if the world had become a threat. I told myself it was nothing, kids get moody, maybe she missed home. But the next morning, when she refused to eat and just stared at her plate with trembling lips, I knew something was wrong. That's when the fever started. And when the doctor came, his expression after examining her broke something inside me. He looked at me, then at her, and said quietly, "Sir, you need to call the police." The room went cold. Her name was Hanya, 9 years old, my sister's daughter. When my sister died in a car crash 2 years ago, I became her guardian. I promised I'd protect her, and for 2 years I kept that promise, until I made the mistake of trusting my wife's sister, Nadia. Nadia adored Hanya, or so she claimed. She was the kind of woman who smiled too easily, laughed too loudly, always the center of attention. She'd offer to babysit often, saying I needed rest. I believed her. She was family. Now I hate that word, family. It hides too many devils. The police took statements, collected samples, asked questions that made me sick to my stomach. Hanya was quiet through it all, staring at the floor. She wouldn't speak, wouldn't even look at me. When the doctor's report came, it confirmed what I feared most. Something had been done to her, something unspeakable. And they found traces that tied back to Nadia's house. But evidence wasn't enough. She was careful, always. The kind of careful that knows how to smile while committing sins in secret. Her lawyer cousin made sure she stayed untouchable. The case stalled. The police said they'd keep investigating. I stopped sleeping. That's when I started planning. Revenge, in my experience, works best when disguised as grief. I played the broken man perfectly, the one who blamed himself, the one who couldn't bear to see anyone. And while everyone whispered about my decline, I began building, quietly. First, I bought a camera, not for her, but for me. I learned her routines, her habits. Nadia worked at a daycare. Fitting, isn't it? She smiled at other people's children while destroying my own family. I began following her, recording. Then I made friends, online, in the places she thought no one would ever look. Under fake names, she had a pattern. Conversations with strangers, men, photos, not of herself, but of the children she worked with. Each image was a knife. I didn't confront her, not yet. I gathered, layer upon layer of her rot, every message, every transfer, every hidden folder. Then I reached out to someone else, a journalist who'd once exposed a trafficking ring. I gave him everything. He verified it himself, dug deeper than I could have dreamed. The article went live 3 months later. Headline: Daycare worker involved in child exploitation network. Her face was everywhere. Her home raided, her phone confiscated. The evidence, mine, matched perfectly with what the police had failed to uncover. But I wasn't done. See, I didn't just want her punished. I wanted her destroyed. When she called me from jail, crying, swearing it was all a mistake, I let her speak. Let her gasp my name like it meant something. "Please, you know I'd never hurt Hanya," she sobbed. I said nothing, just breathed. Let the silence press against her until she broke. Then I whispered, "You did. And I'm the one who proved it." And then I hung up. Hanya slowly recovered. Therapy helped, but she would never be the same. Innocence, once shattered, doesn't heal. It scars. Every night I sat by her bed and told her stories. Safe stories, happy ones. Until one night she reached out, placed her small hand over mine, and whispered, "She can't hurt me anymore, right?" "No," I said, "never again." She smiled for the first time since that week. That was the night I finally allowed myself to sleep. Months passed. The trial came. She pled guilty. Her face, swollen, pale, stripped of arrogance, filled the courtroom monitors as her lawyer begged for leniency. I watched from the back, arms crossed, calm. She turned once, searching for sympathy, for someone to believe her. Our eyes met, and in that single moment she understood. It was me, the evidence, the exposure, the collapse of her life, all orchestrated by the man she thought too broken to fight back. The verdict came down like judgment itself. Guilty. Sentenced. Her scream, when they led her away, still echoes in my mind. Not because it haunted me, but because it sounded exactly like victory. Afterward, people called me strong, brave. They didn't know the truth. Strength had nothing to do with it. I didn't fight for justice. I fought for vengeance. For the little girl who still flinches when doors close too loudly. Sometimes, late at night, I stand outside her room and listen to her breathing. Soft, steady, safe. And I remember that day in the doctor's office, his voice trembling, his eyes apologizing for a world that let this happen. "Sir, you need to call the police." I did. But when the police failed, I called on something else. Myself.